Ladies and gentlemen, super excited to let you know that Pat has grown a beard. That is not Pat. That is Ed. It is 7:13 on Tuesday, September 23rd. We have a lot to cover today. Ed, I appreciate you being here. We are the Sons of Saturday. Ed is in Warrenton, Virginia. Shout out to Fauquier County, Virginia. And I am in Charlotte, North Carolina. We're going to talk about the NC State game. We're going to talk about the Board of Visitors and budget situation. And we're also going to talk about basketball. Ed, how are you doing, man? It's been a minute. Hokie Hoops is right around the corner. It's actually officially basketball season. I think you said that 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, practice started yesterday, so it is officially basketball season now. Very excited. Haven't done a podcast in quite some time, so when I was prepping for this, I was kind of looking forward to it. This will be fun and get to touch on a lot of different crazy topics going on in the Virginia Tech world.
I do also want to shout out our guy, Adam Boitnott, took in all of Baton Rouge's glory. They played the absolute powerhouse that is southeastern Louisiana at night in Baton Rouge. I will actually be joining Adam and the Baton Rouge crew in November, Florida State Week. I will be going to LSU versus Arkansas. I'm looking forward to that as well. So we'll see. Put down in the comments if you think Sam Pittman will still have his job come early November. That will be interesting to see. So without further ado, we will jump into some Hokie haikus. Guys, you really stepped it up since we put out that call to action a couple of weeks ago. Here they are. Reasonable Squirrel, he's back. Winning streak begins. Find comfort in victory. Dawn's broke. Beat the pack. Pete McGee. The Wolfpack is back. Will bites match the moonlit howls? Enter fightin' fouls. Wow. Pete McGee pulling out all stops. Old Hokie, budgets climb at last. Hokies make their biggest move. Game has changed for good. Last one here comes from Chris. Hokies win at state. Big money is on the slate. Mullen, make us great. Those are 4 high quality haikus. Well done, everybody. Ed, are you good if we start with the Board of Visitors and the budget here?
Yeah, I think that's probably the top of mind subject for most Virginia Tech fans, especially based on some of those haikus. So yeah, let's go ahead and start there.
So if you are a Virginia Tech fan, you're probably aware of what we're about to talk about. If you're not a Virginia Tech fan, you can fast forward a little bit to skip this. But if you don't know, Virginia Tech has made what is that Trump line? What is it called? Workings of a plan, framework of a plan. What is it? What is it called?
Something like that.
Yeah,
there are leaked Board of Visitors slides of a budget that will be voted on a week from tonight, I believe. So
yes,
the budget that they are proposing at the next Board of the Visitors meeting on the 30th has come across the timeline and across the internet. That's what this is.
Yes. So we have the frameworks of a plan, and here's what they are. So the cliff notes are this. Virginia Tech was near the bottom of ACC spending when it came to athletics. There have been multiple numbers that have been put around. I've seen 122. I've seen 146. The TLDR on this is it was not enough. It was not nearly enough for what the university needed to be doing. So based upon this proposal in 2026, we are adding $47.1 million to that proposed budget. It was projected to be 156.8. It's going up to 190. And then in 27, we're adding 61 million to get to 204. In 28, we're adding 60.6 to get to 207.3. And then in 29, we're adding 6.6 to get to $212.1 million. So here's the breakdown. Virginia Tech will raise student fees by $100. Now, Virginia Tech has the lowest fee in Virginia for public institutions. This is essentially one of the many line items that are added to your tuition. For reference here, Virginia Tech is charging $437, but UVA is charging $763. JMU is charging nearly $2,500. Virginia is actually more expensive than any state I looked at. NC State, you're at $232 per year, and then Georgia Tech is at $254, and Clemson's at $300. My stance: I hate fees being raised. With that said, as long as the government is going to approve student loans and students will pay for it, like, I don't know what to tell you other than like we should be competing and we have not done our job with fundraising and the money has to come from somewhere. If students are going to pay it, I'm not trying to be insensitive, but what I'm basically saying is like, if this is a lever you can pull, you have to pull that lever.
Yeah. And, we're behind our in-state peers in terms of what those numbers look like. Now, that's skewed because Virginia state schools or the Virginia schools are way higher on that end of the spectrum than around the country.
Mhm.
All that tells me is that NC State, Georgia Tech, Clemson, get ready because your fees are getting raised too. But from a Virginia Tech standpoint, yeah, you have to pull that lever. I believe they're doing so in the quickest rate they can increase them based on state law.
Mhm.
You can't just they couldn't just go from whatever it was last year to the $2,000 JMU's charging. They have to do it incrementally. So that's what they're planning to do, and that's what's shown on these budget projections is a gradual increase in revenue from those student fees. But look, Virginia Tech is what it is as a university because of football. The profile of the university relies on and was built on the football program and in turn athletics. So you have to do what you have to do in order to feed that machine. And look, sports, and football being the biggest one is a huge marketing arm. There's not all these new dorms and new campuses in Northern Virginia and all these things that Virginia Tech has going on now if it's not for football. So you have to feed that machine. And like you said, it's unfortunate that that cost gets passed down to the students, but I'm not really sure how else you're supposed to do it. You've seen what JMU's done. Good football coach after good football coach after good football coach, and trickles down into all their other sports, and that is being paid for by those student fees. So Virginia Tech's just trying to catch up to the in-state peers in terms of this thing.
And I'm certainly not going to pretend to be a state law expert. I'm getting most of my information from the wonderful Doug Bowman, who's done an incredible job. And yes, there's a cap on how much you can raise fees by. There's also an institutional support cap. And from what I glean, it can only go up 5% per year, I think. Look, there's so much minutia and so much that goes into this that we're really not going to be your subject matter experts for this. We encourage you to do your own research. But here are some of the pros and the cons that I see from this. First of all, pros. The national perception is that the school is invested. Whether that is true or untrue or to be seen, Virginia Tech has done a masterful job with PR. This last week of PR for Virginia Tech has been better than it probably has ever been. You got Bruce Arians on the Pat McAfee show. You got Ross Dellinger. It wasn't Ross Dellinger. It was Pete Thamel breaking the news on Good Morning USA on College Game Day. And you have Pete Nako's talking about it. So everybody is talking about it. And in a time where you're flirting with coaches, you're flirting with agents, all of the PR around Virginia Tech is overwhelmingly positive, and it looks like they're ponying up to be good at football. We also shined a light on how much we have dragged our feet over the last decade, 2 decades, 3 decades, 4 decades. And that's why I have so much respect after going through these last 3-ish years for Kenny Brooks, for Buzz Williams, for Justin Fuente, for so many of these different coaches, Pete DeMoore, Coach Dresser, Coach Roby. The fact that they were able to have as much success as they did in varying degrees, given the lack of institutional support that we have had, should absolutely be celebrated, in my opinion. So that was kind of a pro and a shot at the same time. And I would also say another pro, and the last pro, is the fans do feel good. I think people are excited. I think people are glad to see this happen, or supposedly happening. It's being voted on. It's very funny. Anytime we talked about it, I feel like a lot of people were totally unaware that this was happening, or assumed that it wouldn't happen. And when the news broke a couple days ago, it was met with surprise and also some question marks, which we'll get into in the cons. But that's what I have for my pros.
Yeah, I think one other point that I have on the whole why you have to do this is, and it says this on the Board of Visitors slides too, the impact that a thriving Virginia Tech athletics department and a thriving football program has on the region and the state is significant. This isn't just the town of Blacksburg and Christiansburg, but this is the whole kind of Southwest Virginia, Richmond on West as a whole. It's a big deal, and it's a flagship school in the state. It's big for the state too. So being able to invest in your major universities is really important. And look at the SEC. I mean, Alabama kind of led the way with this. I know their old president. This was very much his philosophy, was that investing in athletics raises the profile of the entire university, and there's a trickle down effect there that bleeds into application numbers, enrollment numbers, all the things that help the university on the academic side also thrive. And we continue to see Virginia Tech do really well in those, record-setting applicants, record-setting class sizes, all those things. But if you want that to continue, look, the football program and sports are very important for raising the overall profile of the university. So, yeah, I think it's been a huge pro. And like you said, you've seen Virginia Tech in the national news in a positive way more in the last 2 weeks than we have in maybe since the Final Four for the women's side.
I would agree. In terms of the amount of positive press that we've had, it's unprecedented. Completely agree. And yes, it is important to so many people. And you have to get this right. That's why the coaching hire is so important. You're truly at not a breaking point, but like all right, it's time to saddle up, cowboy, and let's get going. Cons. This is more of a question than it is an outright con. So according to this graph, what this says is in terms of total investment, they have $48.3 million coming from the school from 2026 to 2029. They have 21.3 coming from student fee revenue. So let's just call that the money that's coming from the school or levers that the school can pay. Bridge funding, I have no idea what that means. I don't know if that means it's a loan from the Hokie Club. I don't know if that means that it's money that needs that. I really don't know what bridge funding means. We'll find out on during this presentation, I presume. Now, my con is that last line item, and it's philanthropy. And philanthropy is the largest number. It is $30 million per year. And that makes up for $120 million of the $229 million of the entire pot. So in 2023 to 24, that drive year, so all the donations that athletics saw, we brought in $22.2 million. So I am a little concerned that this money is, they're basically saying, hey guys, great news, new budget. Other side of the news, you're paying for like half of it. And if you include the students, you're also paying for like more than half of it. So this leads me into my first unanswerable question. I'm already thrilled that Witt in this specific situation has made this happen. I will be ready to kiss Witt on the forehead if he has secured some large funding that makes this 30 million look more reasonable. Because right now, if you have not secured some sort of commitment, I personally think 30 million is unreasonable to ask from this fan base. What say you?
My take on the bridge funding is that, yeah, that'll be some sort of loan that I guess the school in this instance will take out as we build our infrastructure in terms of things like whatever the new Hokie Club looks like, whatever the new NIL arm looks like, and then other revenue generating streams that they're going to pursue, like possible stadium sponsorship, on-field sponsorship, that kind of thing. So I would assume that's what that bridge funding is. But like you said, we'll hear about it in the Board of Visitors presentation, which by the way is live streamed, so people can watch it next week.
9:30 a.m.
The philanthropy piece is it's concerning on its face. I need to hear them talk about it more. I don't want to like pass judgment on what's going on. I would be shocked if some large portion of the 120 over a 4-year span is not committed.
I mean large.
I don't know how
50%.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how they could realistically project those numbers without knowing, okay, we've got this in our back pocket. Like we have this card we're going to play here.
Yep.
So that That's my hopeful guess, is that they have some amount of this committed behind the scenes, and we'll hear about that as this continues to unfold and is formally voted on and approved. But yeah, if they're projecting $120 million over a 4-year window off of a grassroots, everybody, throw 100 in the bucket. I mean, good luck with that. So these people are way too smart and way too successful to do that.
I hope so.
Based on the bios of these board members, I'd be shocked if that's the route they're going. So I would assume there is some level of large commitment already taken up.
Chief, I will tell you what, I hope you're right too, because there is a lot right. This can't be one of those situations. It actually, here's my opinion. We live in such a perception is reality world. So honestly, probably like 30% of what you wanted to accomplish with this has already been done, because you get the PR win, everybody's celebrating, everybody's like throwing a party, we're fired up. But when agents and coaches start to peel the layers back of, hey, you said this investment, can you tell me a little bit about it? Like, they're going to do their due diligence if they're investigating as a GM or a coach to come here. I still, and I'm not going to harp on it too much, but I have a hard time stomaching that the university is like throwing themselves a party when 70% of this new money is on the backs of students and on the backs of donors. And I say on the backs of donors as well, because he has not said this to me. And if this is how he feels or people like him feel, they would never say it publicly. I think it's bullshit that a lot of people just assume or ask the Mayhuls of the world or the large donors of the world to just bail us out. Like, oh, well, he's got it or they got it. Like, that's why. Would you go into like 7-Eleven and be like, yo, you got my chips? Like, no, bro. Like, that whole situation drives me crazy. And I think those people have answered the bell a lot of times. All of the people that work in Team First with the athletic department. So I truly hope that there are some commitments. If your answer or the university's answer for this is, oh, the donors will do it again, that would piss me off. So I like that's just kind of my thought on it. And that leads me to my first question. Are there state regulations that are holding us back? If there are, understandable. If not, I see no reason why, knowing nothing about state law, I don't understand why the university wouldn't at least match what you're asking donors to put in. Like, if you're asking donors to put in $30 million, why can't the university match that $30 million? Right?
Well,
Isn't that crazy?
They're not going to do that. Clearly, I mean,
yeah.
There's a note on one of the slides. I don't have it in front of me, but it said something to the effect of like, no academic programs will be affected by these budget changes. Like, they're not moving money from one place to the other. Mm-hmm. It basically said it might limit our flexibility moving forward, but nothing is like they're not cutting anything to do this, and they're not going to do that. So, yeah, I agree with everything you're saying about, the Mayhuls of the world. Mayhul is just public. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Like, there are other Mayhuls who are not, on Instagram and on the boards and all that stuff. But yeah, I agree. The assumption that it's just like, oh, they'll take care of it. They'll grab that that tab. No, they probably won't. Like,
or even for the university to make that assumption pisses me off. And again,
so we'll see.
Again, I don't know what the extent of the levers the university can pull. I am just dubious of 30 million over, like, basically adding 10 million to our donations over the next few years when we haven't ever hit that number. So again, if there is some dude out there who has made a pledge, or a plethora of dudes who have made a pledge, or dudettes, either one, if they have made some of these commitments, I will feel a lot better about that $30 million commitment. I'm also curious, like, who knows? Maybe we get on there and they say philanthropy, the Hokie Club's actually going under the university, and we're going to figure it out as kind of part of the pie of philanthropy surrounding the whole school. I don't know what's going to happen.
I could see that.
What needs to happen?
My guess.
Okay.
They have secured commitments that are front loaded of that 4-year window. I bet you they have some amount of the front end of that taken care of, with the goal to build out that infrastructure you're talking about. What's the new Hokie Club going to look like?
Mm-hmm.
And in the first year or two, while their butts are covered by a couple big donors, they will build out that new infrastructure with the goal of raising $30 million a year by 2028, 2029. That's my guess, but we'll see. We don't know enough yet. We won't know enough till next Tuesday.
9:30 on Monday, I believe, is the vote. My other last question, of course, we didn't cut any academic stuff. I'm sure every single class and major is extremely important and necessary. Why, and this might, the answer might just be as simple as Title IX. I was pretty surprised that no sports are being cut from what I'm seeing. I'm pretty surprised that we're not seeing, and I don't wish that sports got cut. I just know that Virginia Tech is one of the schools that sponsors a ton of sports. I was pretty surprised that we didn't lose 1, 2, or 3. But again, the bottom line on those is not that crazy. Like if you were to cut a sport, it doesn't make a huge difference.
Yeah, the guys on Tech Sideline talked about that. I was watching their pod earlier today. Like the Virginia Tech total sponsored sports number is kind of like average of the public schools in the league. There's a couple of schools that have way more. So, and then again, like how much
the couple of schools that have way more are in California. Those are a couple of schools that have way more, and North Carolina.
That's true. But there's always this like, oh, Clemson has so many less. It's not that many less.
It's like 4 or 5, right?
It's like a couple tennis programs and a swim team less. Like it's not like it's crazy overhead inducing programs. So again, I don't get too caught up in that. But yeah, I mean, I think unless college athletics and what's Texas Tech's big donor, Cody Campbell. I've seen him talk about that recently. Like he's the one who's basically funded Texas Tech entirely. Unless we get college athletics as a whole in a better position to be run like a professional sports organization, a professional sports league, that's where this is heading. I just don't think we're there yet. And hopefully we don't get there.
My last question is, what happens if the philanthropy falls short for whatever reason? If in 2027 we're $15 million short of the philanthropy number, or we're $8 million short, or if we're $2 million short, does the university carry the flag there? So that is my guess. That is why I am just hopeful that this is not a situation where the university is trying to look like they care about football, but they're actually asking you to care more about football and give them all the credit. So we will see. We'll learn more details on this on Monday. Excited about that. And I do encourage all of you to, when you're done listening to this podcast and have liked and subscribed, please, if you enjoy, check out David Teal over on Tech Sideline with Andy and David. It was really, really good. They got into some of the nitty gritty there. So some other quick Hokie headlines. I promise we'll get to NC State here soon. Bruce Arians is consulting and lending his expertise to the Hokies hiring committee. That's exciting.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, the early word on what Virginia Tech's looking for in terms of this new general manager football position is they want somebody with an NFL background, which makes sense because this is becoming more and more professionalized, kind of like we just talked about. So having Bruce Arians and his Rolodex at your disposal, if you're looking in NFL circles, makes all the sense in the world.
Bruce Arians has made some good hires in the past. He hired Byron Leftwich. He hired, who's the head coach of Tampa Bay right now? What's his name?
He hired
Todd
Tom
Bowles?
Brady. That helped too.
Tom Brady, Todd Bowles. So he's done well for himself.
Yeah.
Todd Bowles had a hilarious moment in his press conference this week. They asked him about what his relationship is like with one of his players, and he said, "We're actually secret lovers." I thought that was funny. We already talked about VT killing it from a press perspective. Do you have any thoughts of this ACC moving to 9 conference games and a minimum of 10 games in the Power 4? I saw some people freaking out about this. I mean, this league is not.
I also saw a person freaking out on the.
I did. I saw my guy treadmill horse freak out about this. I don't think that it's a big deal at all.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing. Look, the best part about there was a group chat of us Sons of Saturday writers the other day during the craziness of the end of the 1 o'clock window on Red Zone, and. That's the coolest thing ever. And someone was like, college football can never keep up with this. Well, they can and they can't. On an individual basis, a good college game is great, right? But then the NFL has 10 of them ending at all the exact same time with crazy endings. And It's because all 32 teams matter. Whereas like if you were to do on any given week, Virginia Tech's playing Wofford or Florida is playing like University of Cuba. Like they play all these like random teams and there's 45-point spreads and all these things. I'm good on that. Like, can I watch real football, please?
Yeah.
Like, so I'm excited for it. I want to see Virginia Tech play more South Carolina games, more West Virginia games. We got Maryland 4 years in a row coming up. Like, play the other Power 4 teams in your region more often, please and thank you. And it sounds like that's where this is heading. I mean, playing 9 conference games, okay, whatever. Like, we play a lot of the conference schools very often anyway, so that's not that big of a deal. But it does eliminate the Wofford games, you know?
Yeah. That'll do it for.
Well, no, I have one more point on that.
Oh,
I wasn't sure if you were going to read it or if I was going to read it, but
go for it.
Just looking at 2026, like how is Virginia Tech going to make this work? You know, if you look at our non-conference schedule for next year, it's VMI, Old Dominion, at Maryland, and JMU. Well, Maryland is your one additional P4 game, so that one's obviously not going anywhere.
I'd like to drop that one.
So I find it unlikely that they're going to get rid of another Old Dominion game after that whole thing this offseason. So are they going to play VMI or JMU, and how are you going to move those around? Because you're going to have to make room now for one additional ACC game starting in 2026. So which game are you cutting? I saw Doug Bowman mention likely VMI just from a cost perspective, but personally, I'd rather kick JMU down the curb one more year if you can find a way to do it. Give the new coaching staff the VMI game to open things up versus an ACC game.
Yeah, I've come around on this quite a bit because I used to be a big proponent of I like to see Grambling keep a program, and the only way that they can keep a program is by playing Ohio State. I like to see that some of these other schools can keep their program, but they do that by playing these other schools. The mission of college athletics and the business of college athletics has just changed so much to the point where it's not good for viewership, and it's also not good for the big schools to do that. So at the end of the day, it sucks. It sucks. Like, I heard David Cunningham say this, and he is 100% right, but also it's kind of a funny point. Like, VMI and Virginia Tech used to be a cool rivalry. Sure, they have played for almost 100 years. Also, there's not really any reason to play that game other than nostalgia. Some people go in and saying my pawpaw went to this game 100 years ago. It just doesn't really.
I want those games to move in replacement and replace spring games. I think that'd be so cool.
That would be great. I
think that'd be so cool.
You just fixed it. That would be great. That would be fantastic. I would love that. Maybe put the other team's quarterback on one team. That would be cool too. I don't know.
Onto other things we need to fix.
All right, let's talk about NC State. And for those of you who are hoping to hear about some hoops, we'll do 6 or 8 minutes on hoops at the end of this podcast. We do have to talk about NC State because these Wolfpack fans have been so patient. NC State, the Pack. They are a public land-grant university. Very, very similar to Virginia Tech. Ed, their fan base, I never have to worry about turning on an NC State game and seeing the overhead shot of their stadium and seeing empty seats. They are right next to Virginia Tech on a lot of statistic metrics. They're next to Virginia Tech on a lot of funding, metrics. They're so similar to us in their blue collar attitude, their competing and proud history, but they're not one of the best programs out there, right?
Yeah, I think it's funny how every state has that. Every state has just the complete polar opposite universities. Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Virginia Tech, UVA, NC State, UNC. I mean, Alabama and Auburn. They're all every state has that with their 2 major universities, and NC State's definitely our peer in North Carolina.
Famous alumni from NC State. Dude, we got Phillip Rivers, Mr. Procreation himself, Russell Wilson, backup quarterback for the New York Football Giants as of today, but he did graduate from Wisconsin. So he spent time at NC State, but he did not graduate from NC State. These were shocking to me. Zach Galifianakis went to NC State. Scotty McCreery went to NC State, and Bill Cowher, Super Bowl winning head coach, Bill Cowher. What a list. Fun list. Virginia Tech leads the series 28-20. Their first game came in 1900, an 18-2 win for the Hokies in Raleigh. And 1992 was the last tie in Virginia Tech history, 13-13. Shout out to my guy, Paul Patera. He put me on to that in his article where he broke down all the historic games between Virginia Tech and NC State. Ed, we're actually going to talk about these last two together. We'll actually talk about the last four together, but the first two that neither of us, in all transparency, have watched. The 1986 Peach Bowl. Shout out to my guy, Mr. Donnelly, man. He did the Peach Bowl step. The Hokies won 25-24. Chris Kinzer, game winner, double bird, running up the sideline. Absolutely legendary. 2009 in Blacksburg, Ryan Williams rushed for 4 touchdowns. Cody Grimm forced 3 fumbles. Cam Chancellor picked off Russell Wilson, and the Hokies won 38-10. This 2015 game was so fun. Believe this was a Thursday night game. We had a rain delay. Brendan Motley was filling in for Michael Brewer with his injury, and he threw 3 touchdown passes to Isaiah Ford in the second quarter. The Hokies defense also forced 4 sacks and had 11 tackles for loss. Virginia Tech won that game 28-13. That was a really talented NC State team. I believe they had Jacoby Brissett as their quarterback. Had a couple of good defensive backs too. Adonis Alexander, I believe, had an interception in that game. Fun game Thursday or Friday night. It wasn't during the weekend. It was a weekday game. And then the COVID game. I mean, we just beat the hell out of them. 31-7 at one point. This was the Braxton Burmeister mustard game where he was doing mustard on the sideline. The Hokies ended up winning 45-24.
I'm glad you said mustard on the pod because I just want everyone to know.
Written down.
He's got ketchup written on the notes, and I was about to be like, dude, no.
And now let's talk about some NC State wins. Heartbreak in 2004. NC State forced 10 sacks. The Hokies got to the red zone 5 times and couldn't capitalize. And then Brandon Pace missed the game-winning field goal in 2004. And then this is the broke Sam Jesse game in 2002 and 22. MJ Morris, their backup, he had 3 second-half touchdowns. This was Coach Pry's first year. And you were like, oh, my God, we're going to win a game. We hadn't won a game in like 8 or 9 weeks at this point. It was just an awful season. And NC State ended up winning 22-21. It was one of the many one-score losses for our guy Pry. That one was tough, but it was especially tough for Sam Jesse. That is the maddest I have ever seen Sam Jesse in my life. He was pretty furious. And then we also had Brennan Armstrong. This game in Blacksburg. Ed, were you at this game in 2023?
Might have been. I don't know.
Tootin only had 2 carries. KC Concepcion ran and caught and threw a touchdown, and they won the game 35-28. This game was in November of 2023. And we had things rolling, and, I know we beat UVA, but it was frustrating that we lost this game to NC State. It was a frustrating loss.
Tootin had 2 carries in that game. He already has 2 touchdowns in the NFL.
I know, dude. I know. It's another example of him, Jalen Lane, just players who were here and are awesome and were used incorrectly and are in the NFL and for sure will just be awesome as long as.
Oh, yeah. I saw Aeneas Peoples playing last night for the Ravens.
Yeah. So that's painful. Storylines. What sticks out to you for this game, Ed? A couple for me. 2 great Hokies over there coaching for NC State. You got Charlie Wiles is heading up the D-line, and you got Jared Hewitt as the D-line GA. I actually would love, because since we're doing Hokie history, can you talk about the weirdest game in Virginia Tech basketball history, NC State, Virginia Tech, 2017, 18?
Yeah, what was the score of that game?
36-42 or something like that?
I'm looking it up, but yeah, that game was bizarre because that was a really good Virginia Tech team, and they just forgot how to play basketball. It down in Raleigh. That game was so weird. I'm trying to find the actual score. Man, this is terrible radio. But But that was so bizarre.
Didn't Wilkes play a ton of minutes in that game? Justin Robinson was hurt, right?
47-24. How is that possible?
24 points.
Yeah, here we go. I found the box score. That was a ranked game in the ACC.
That was
Virginia
a
Tech
big
came in that
game.
game 12th, and NC State was ranked 23rd. NC State scored 10 points in the second half of that basketball game.
What month was that game in? Was that game in February?
It
was a late game. It was a late game, if I'm recalling.
It was later in the year. For some reason, the ESPN
bottom left ain't telling you.
No, hold on, it's loading. February 2nd, it looks like.
Yep.
Wow. Lowest scoring output of the shot clock era for NC State, and that game. I mean, I was gonna read off the high score. It was Gary Blackshear with 13.
Who was playing point guard in that game? Beatty?
Wabisa Beatty played point guard, and then off the bench for the Hokies, Jonathan Kabongo played 5 minutes, and Isaiah Wilkins, you were right, had 5 points, which was good for the 4th highest output on the team for that game.
I remember he scored
7 guys in a road game, scored 47 points against a ranked team and won.
Yeah, it's tough. I remember he played because he was on the graphic that March Madness CBS put out. It was because I couldn't watch this game. I was doing something. I was I don't remember if I was skiing or what I was doing, but I remember seeing it and I saw it and I was like, why is Isaiah Wilkins on this graphic? Wait, who scored 20 points? That was bizarre. If you were an
NC State here had 13 points. Nickeil Alexander-Walker had 11. Beatty and Hill had 9 and Wilkins had 5, and that was it. And the highest scorer for NC State was CJ Bryce with 7 points.
Unbelievable. If you're an NC State fan and you were at that game, do let us know in the comments or let me know what you were thinking after that game. Another question that I have for NC State fans that I have written down here is the Dave Doran question. So before I lay this out for you, NC State fans, I would like you to put in the comments what your true opinion is of Dave Doran. Do you like him? Do you want him to keep the job? Or is he on borrowed time and needs to accomplish something to keep the job? I'm giving y'all a second. Now I'm going to ask you, NC State fans, did you know that since 2020, NC State has won 40 games? This is coming into the season, so this doesn't include this year. He has the second highest winning percentage in the ACC. Dave Doran and NC State. I think that's crazy. I had to check that at 3 different places. He has 8 or more wins in 4 of the last 5 seasons. Dave Doran, you are JV James Franklin. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody thinks that you should be out. But in reality, you do win a whole lot more than you get credit for.
How many coaches do you think? This kind of surprised me earlier today. So we were going to get to it later, but I'll just say it now. Mike Gundy got fired at Oklahoma State today.
He did.
With that happening, there are only 4 coaches who have been in their post as long as Dave Doran has been at NC State.
Can I guess?
Yeah, go ahead.
James Franklin?
No, he got to Penn State the year after Doran got to NC State.
Ferentz from Iowa.
Yep, that's the first one.
Coach from Utah.
Whittingham is second.
After that, I don't know.
Troy Calhoun at Air Force.
Okay.
And Dabo Swinney, 2009 at Clemson.
Wow. So
and then after that, Doran and Mark Stoops both got to their jobs in 2013.
Wow. I will give myself some patties on the backies because I did get 2 of the 4.
You got the top 2. Yeah. Kirk Ferentz has been at Iowa since 99.
Yeah. I'm curious to know if he's going to be at Iowa in a year.
Oh, and that same goes for, I guess Dabo, but he'll be at Clemson. And then Mark Stoops, who got to Kentucky at the same time Doran got to NC State.
So that's the skinny on Dave Doran and some of the storylines there. We'll preview y'all's offense and defense real quick. As far as the offense is concerned, Kurt Roper, just my guidance counselor actually at high school was named Miss Roper. She was the best. She really talk about a gift from God. He is the new offensive coordinator replacing Robert Anai. He was an internal promotion. Some fun facts about him. He was the interim at Colorado in 2018. So he saw some awful football. He was also the offensive coordinator at South Carolina for Will Muschamp, so he saw some more awful football. But this year, they have a top 40 offense in terms of yards. They're putting up 445 per game. Their offense did lose Casey Concepcion. He transferred to Texas A&M. He did have that unbelievable performance against Virginia Tech in 2023. Their quarterback is, I got to tell you, Ed, CJ Bailey, I feel like he's been in college forever. He's only a sophomore.
Yeah, I can't keep up with what anybody is anymore. It's all just mush. But yeah, he's been awesome for them this year.
He has been really good, and he's been really efficient in the red zone. He's 21st in the country in QBR. He is coming off his worst QBR game of the year in a loss versus Duke. He threw for 364, 2 touchdowns, and 3 picks. Their running back, Hollywood Smothers, what a name. Sounds more like a linebacker name than a running back name. He's a sophomore from Charlotte, 6.3 yards per carry. He's already over 500 yards, so they have a good running back. The defense. So NC State replaced both of their coordinators. They have a completely rehauled staff on defense, except for my guy, Charlie Wiles. Love Charlie. Coach Wiles. DJ Elliott is their DC, and their co-DC is Charlton Warren. So DJ Elliott was the DC at Colorado, Kentucky, Kansas, and Temple. He was most recent, those were DC roles that he had. 2 years ago, he was the linebacker coach for the Eagles, and then last year he was an assistant at Baylor. So it seems like there are quite a few parallels on what NC State did with their coaching staff this offseason and what we did with our coaching staff. And you never know how it's going to go. As far as it's gone for the defense, pretty poor. NC State is 114th in yards given up. They're giving up 414 per game. They have a solid rushing defense and an objectively awful passing defense. They're giving up 29.3 points per game, and they only have 5 sacks on the season. Their defensive end, Isaiah Shirley, had a pick 6 versus Wake Forest. Their leading tackler is senior linebacker Sean Brown from Charlotte. He has 39 tackles. And also, fellow senior Caden Fordham is second in tackles with 37. I just got to say, dude, I love seeing 2 senior linebackers that have been at one school. It's rare, but we are seeing it this year, which makes me happy. In terms of special teams, they have 2 kickers. Kanoa Vincent, he hit a 52-yarder last year. He has not been tested yet this year. And then Nick K, I'm not even going to try with his last name. He kicked in the ECU game. So I don't know if they have 2 kickers or if Kanoa was having like a groin problem or something at the ECU game. But Nick K did the kicking during that game. Keys to the game. They're brought to you by Dave Phillips. Dave Phillips, he has your back. Buying, selling, investigating, wherever you're doing in the New River Valley. We love Dave Phillips. Taking care of us. See him at wrestling. See him at basketball. See him at football. He's a man of the community. He's a man of the people. He's a Virginia Tech graduate. And we highly, highly recommend him with anything that you will be doing. We know people who have bought from him. If you're interested in getting connected, let us know. We will make a connection directly. I didn't do this segment at the beginning, and I've been doing it every week. And it's called the Why Should I Watch This Game segment. Do you want to take a crack at it? Why someone should carve out 3 hours of their Saturday? I have a pretty good answer, but I'm curious what you would say. What is the compelling reason for you to watch this game? If you had to make one.
I mean, I'm going to watch it because it's my school and it's my favorite team, and I'm going to watch no matter what's going on. I mean, it's about as turbulent as it could be from just a strictly like in the football rooms perspective in Blacksburg right now. I mean, everyone kind of knows what the situation is, but I'm always going to watch. I watched the Wofford game, but for this game in particular, I would highly encourage a secondary screen to watch the Hokies on, because we unfortunately are kicking off at the same time as Oregon, Penn State, and Alabama, Georgia. So there's some great football on in addition to our game. But yeah, man, I'm always going to watch. I don't care what's going on with the team. I don't care what's going on with the coaching staff. I'm always going to turn it on. So
I love that out of you, Ed. This will though be a laptop effect game.
Yeah.
This one will be on the laptop or iPad. We will see which one it's going to be. Keys to the game. Well, first of all, I'm going to tune in because it's the first ACC game of the year, and who knows? Maybe we'll win. Don't know. Don't think we will, but maybe we will. Keys to the game, competent football. I really can't think of many keys outside of that. Don't turn the football over. And I would say this too, like undoubtedly, because it happens in every football game, you will hit some turbulence. There will be something that goes, that sucks. It'll happen on defense and offense. I don't know if this team is capable of handling that. I don't know if they're capable of not absolutely imploding when something goes poorly. I was actually shocked that we were able to handle that against Wofford when we did not get a 4th down conversion. But we were able to eke that one out. So I am interested to see how we respond to adversity, because undoubtedly there will be some on Saturday night.
Yeah.
Doubling down on that key. It's kind of hard to come up with keys to the game. It's going to be a totally different experience. Grant Watson, thank you for providing your over-unders. Ed, you just give me an over or an under. I'll go first. Hokies total points scored 24.5. I am under.
I'm also under.
Total rushing yards 129.5. I am over because somebody will have to accumulate yards somehow.
I'm under because we will likely be playing catch up and have to throw the ball.
Hollywood Smothers rushing yards 129.5.
Under. I think we sell out to stop the run. I know they have, I know they've been slinging it all over the yard and putting up crazy passing stats, but you got to stop something. And I think our best chance to stop something from a game plan perspective is rushing. So slow them down there, and they'll have their receivers testing our corners. But I think under. I think we can hold him in check.
Score prediction time. I want to preface this by saying this. I do think Virginia Tech will win multiple games the rest of the year. I think they have the opportunity to sneak up on some people. There was a quote that came out from Benji Gosnell today that made me want to drive my head into a steel beam. He was essentially asked, can you tell that Philip Montgomery has been a coach before? He said, quote, you can definitely tell. The team's bought into him. They know what he can do. So we are officially on. This might have just been an absolute cover your kids' ears shit show under the previous situation.
Might.
And maybe the results will be different by simply just starting practice on time and knowing when to call timeouts. So that is certainly a possibility.
I thought they looked like they cared more and played harder against Wofford than they did against, who did we lose? Old Dominion. Which loss was it? Couldn't remember. Sorry.
Yeah,
I thought they looked more buttoned up and kind of flying around. Guys had a little bit more juice. Now here's the problem: who's playing in this game,
dude?
So that's where I'm kind of like, God bless Las Vegas. How do they handicap this game? You have no idea who's putting pads on for Virginia Tech. We won't know until warmups. So that's how I have no clue who's playing this game. I think we have talented players, and I think, and we've seen it when they are, I guess, I don't know if focused is the right word, but motivated maybe is the right word. We played really well for 3 quarters against South Carolina. We were beating Vandy at half, and then it all came undone. But I do think there's talented players. I do think there's ability. But again, who's playing in this game?
It's a great question. And because of that question, I am out. I think Virginia Tech, if I had to guess, is losing 42-17.
Oh, that's no bueno.
Well, hold on. Hold on. We have been gashed at will 3 weeks at different times. South Carolina, newsflash, their offense just blows. Like, their offense is just not good. Vanderbilt's offense is okay. They scored 100 points in the second half. Old Dominion might actually be a pretty good team. Shredded us this past week. Wofford, bunch of guys, probably go to church every Sunday. Probably didn't have an opportunity to go anywhere else for school, for football. I would hope that we could stop them. And, Sam Sifkees is playing with a little extra moxie because this is his old school.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
But yeah, I'm a little afraid of Dave Dorn with his back up against the wall, and I think that's kind of where he's at. And I feel like he's like, let me get me a signature win right here. Let me get everybody fired up. So I think it might be ugly.
I don't know that a team with no coach in week 4 is a signature win.
I mean, run it up. How about that?
But
Run it up.
I do share the sentiment. I have 31-17 Wolfpack. I think we'll do a good job slowing down the run, but I think they'll be able to pass all over the place. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe all those guys who sat out last week will play this week, and we are able to keep them in check. But yeah, I'm worried about the ability to slow them down, and I'm maybe more worried about our ability to score points. It just hasn't looked easy at times for us to score the ball. I think, like you said, their pass defense is not good, and our receivers are good. I do think the Greens are both really, really good players. So hopefully we can throw it around and get above the 17 points I'm projecting here, but I have 31-17 Wolfpack.
Hokies NC State, the CW at 7 p.m. That's the CW, 7 p.m.
I texted you this, and I'm just going to say it on here because why not? It is bizarre to me that 2 ACC schools are playing on the CW while Stanford and San Jose State, a non-ACC school, are playing on the ACC network at the same time. What are we doing? Why are the 2 ACC schools not on the ACC network? What are we doing?
I agree with you. I will say this is a big spot for Stanford. The Fighting Ken Niumatalolos of San Jose State are actually pretty damn good. I actually think they're going to win that game over Stanford. So they're actually going to run an infomercial on the ACC sucking for that game.
Great. So, we got that going for
us. 7 o'clock, the CW. Hokies are 10.5-point dogs. Over under is set at 56.5 points. Before we break, Ed, should we talk basketball for like 5 to 6 minutes?
Yeah, I think there's probably enough interest in the fan base at this point in the calendar year to jump into that a little bit. And today,
real quick, we did plant our flag. I, after being encouraged by Ed, purchased 2 basketball tickets for the Notre Dame game. It is, I think, Martin Luther King weekend. If I'm not skiing, I'm there. I'm sure I'll go to other games, but I've never bought basketball tickets this early.
What a halfway flag plant. If I'm not doing something else, I'll go to the game I bought tickets for.
I'm saying I've never bought tickets this early for basketball. Like basketball cannot get here soon enough. They're playing. If they said, "Hey, we're actually playing tonight at 11 o'clock," I'd get in the car.
100%. 100%. Yeah, it's really exciting. I mean, obviously, most of the fan base knows it was a really exciting offseason. I think, we dramatically upgraded the talent on the roster. Honestly, I was reading an article from David Cunningham today, and he talked about the record from last year was in the article, and it's still like looking back at the roster and what they were able to do in terms of wins, losses, still kind of mind blowing.
Surprised, dude.
I'm not surprised because I know who's on the staff, but man, they were making the most of what they had in the refrigerator on that one.
Yeah.
But man, this roster is really exciting this year. You bring in Isaiah Pasha from Delaware, had a really good freshman campaign at Delaware. Kind of a point guard, but can play the 2 as well. And then Amani Hansberry comes over from West Virginia. I think Virginia Tech fans are really going to like him. Big dude, really, really skilled, can shoot the 3, can pass. Kind of like a bigger, more physical version of Aluma, like less skill, more physicality, but can do all of the things. You got Dorn coming over from Germany, who's like a 22-year-old sophomore. Welcome to college basketball now with the international market. Jalen Bedford comes over from UNLV, and then you have all the returners, all the guys we were all really excited to watch last year. Toby Lawal, what step can he take? Jaden Schute's back. Ben Hammond was awesome last year as a true freshman, playing crazy minutes. Tyler Johnson, same deal, crazy minutes as a true freshman. And then, of course, Neo, who I haven't talked about at all, not a returner, of course, but Neo of Dallas, the 5-star, 6'9", 19-year-old point guard from Greece, who, look, then that was a wild recruitment. I think Virginia Tech fans paid attention to it. for quite some time until the decision was finally made. I probably paid attention to it more than my mental health warranted. I was pretty glued to that situation, and for Virginia Tech and Chester Frazier and Mike Young to land a player of that talent who, make no mistake about it, would have been drafted in the second round of the NBA draft this past cycle. Now he is a professional basketball player, has been for quite some time in the international scene, and would have been drafted by an NBA team this past cycle, but opted to come to Virginia Tech, put his skills on display for the college world to see, in hopes of being a first rounder next year. And man, I think he'll be that. He's a special talent. So the talent roster just completely flipped on its head.
Yeah, no, I would also say too, it's hard to say this without, I don't like singling players out. There were a lot of players on last year's team that just made you angry when they were on the court. I'm so excited to flip the page to a bunch of guys that are super talented. I said this about the new athletic director, and I do feel like this is what it's going to be. Last year was not nearly as bad as you all remember it. We're actually in the middle of a season that will end up 15 times worse than last year's basketball season on the football field. And I think that we kind of glossed over the real good job that you didn't, by the way. You didn't gloss over it, but I think we kind of glossed over like the job that Mike Young and company did last year. What I will say is it's going to be like going from a 2002 Honda Accord to driving like an S-Class Mercedes. Like that's what you're going to see. And that's also what the coaching staff is working with this year. It's very, very exciting.
Yeah. I mean, think about last year's roster. Like, we're going to run into a couple of those guys this year. I mean, Jaden Young originally transferred, committed to High Point, and then their coach left. So he's at North Carolina now. I can't imagine his role will be super big at North Carolina, but that was kind of a last minute thing because he was, again, planning to go to High Point. But then, we're going to run into Brandon Recksteiner at Colorado State. But you think about where the guys who left, where they went, and then, put this in perspective. I don't know this for fact, but I believe our highest paid player last year on our roster was Malijal Poteet. And no knock on Malijal, that's our guy. But you need a lot more to win basketball games in the ACC. And this coaching staff took that team to 8-12 in the league. Crazy.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely crazy. And again, they have, the cupboard is not bare this year in terms of talent. The depth should be really strong. And you could hear it in Mike Young's tone today in the press conference.
He's excited.
He's very excited.
He's
excited to work with this group. And, again, when Pete and Mike and I kick off Hokie Hoops here in the next maybe week or so, we'll see how this weekend's football game goes. We'll dive into this all more, but very exciting offseason, and definitely looking forward to basketball starting, man. Can't come soon enough.
We'll run through a couple of more of these. I do want to tip the cap to Kevin Giltner. Man, what an awesome guy. What an awesome family. What an awesome opportunity for him. I said this on the last podcast, but I'm assuming we're getting some more perked up ears regarding basketball. They better take care of my boy, man. It was an absolute, kind of clown show over there over the last couple of weeks. And he can coach ball now, man. Like, if you look and you have followed Virginia Tech basketball, and especially if you've gone to a game in person, he took on a ton of responsibility for Mike Young, drawing up the plays, making sure that he's communicating with the team. And I think Coach Young, for lack of better words, did a really good job mentoring him and getting him ready for this role. So I'm really excited to see how he does and wish him nothing but the best. I know you and I will definitely get down there to see him do it. And it's cool. It's a unique situation. Like, Margaret Young is Coach Young's wife is on the board at Wofford. Coach Young is coaching here. The only bummer is that we don't play him. I wish we played him. This year. I wouldn't be.
That's coming.
That's got to be on the schedule next year.
That's got to be next year, dude. Forget getting down to Spartanburg. His first game as a head coach is at George Mason. I'll be there.
Yeah, you got to go full body paint. You got to go buy like a sunshine wig and wear
it. Yeah, absolutely. I will say I encourage everyone to not to get off the Coach Giltner point. He's the man. We all know that. And I'm very excited for him. Selfishly sad he's gone, but excited for him in this opportunity and for his family. I encourage everyone who's listening to go on the Virginia Tech Athletics YouTube page and find Mike Young's presser from today. It was his first time talking to the media. I think it's like 20 minutes. Typical Mike Young press conference, but you can kind of see the excitement. Takes a shot at Morgantown randomly, super funny. So I encourage everyone to go listen to that.
That is a Hokie Hoop primer. Ed, I'm getting excited. We're going to have a nice rotation this year. I know Pete did a great job last year. I was on a few times, but if you are unfamiliar, Ed does cover basketball. I'll say it. Ed covers basketball more intently than anybody in the space. I would absolutely check it out. We're really excited about Hokie Hoops coming up this year. Around the country, real quick, Bruce Pearl quit. Like he just said, I'm done today or yesterday. He did the Tony Bennett. It's kind of wild.
First day of practice, he hung it up, handed the keys to his son.
It's kind of a jerk move, no?
I don't love it. I guess he's staying on at the athletic department in some capacity. I saw Chad Baker Mazzara, who was at Auburn last year. I believe he's at Southern Cal now. Posted something in his Instagram story and was like, oh, now y'all get it. Like, okay, this is why I left. Like, it seemed like maybe the writing was on the wall that this was happening. Long been speculation he's going to get into politics. He didn't say that yet, but I don't believe him that it's not on the table. Very bizarre. A lot of people were very shocked his son was given a 5-year deal by Auburn. I got news for you. The term does not matter. The buyout matters. So we'll see what that buyout looks like. But yeah, kind of bizarre move. I mean, we saw how it worked out for UVA. Like, they let Bennett hand it to who they wanted to. Well, that guy's gone 1 year later. So how's it going to work at Auburn? I had to guess similarly, but who knows?
Excited to see what Chuck has to say about it.
Yeah.
It's just so Auburn for something like this to happen. This is so Auburn. And also, it's so Bruce Pearl. I actually really like Bruce Pearl. I think he's an interesting dude.
It's a great coach.
He's a really, really great coach. It is wild, though. His last game against Alabama, he did lose. And I believe he did lose it at home, or they lost on the road. I can't believe who they were playing.
Wow, that was a good game. I remember that.
It was an awesome game. I think that's all we got, dude. Do you have any final closing thoughts? Anything else you wanted to mention? We'll talk about women's basketball here soon. We'll have some interviews regarding men's basketball and women's basketball coming up. It's about that time. And beat NC State, beat the Pack, get it done. We'll watch. There's some great football on this weekend. If you've made it this far in this podcast, Ed, what's the randomest emoji you can think of?
Golf ball, because the Ryder Cup is also this weekend.
That's right. Comment a golf ball emoji or text it to me. I've been getting some texts with the emojis. I think that's been pretty cool. Comment a golf ball emoji and then also comment your lock of the weekend. What game do you feel the most confident on and what are you betting? Aside from that, Ed Williams, Billy Ray Mitchell, thanks for joining. Have a great rest of your week. We will talk to you on Sunday or Monday.